Where was I? We were on walking. Well, this is part 2 of that. We're going to use him because he's a semi-rigid, and that's one of the things I was talking about. Okay. Now, it's roughly the same idea, but the movement's going to be a little bit different because of the fact that the joints don't move. So you cannot really use the joints. So what you're going to do is you're going to move his waist, because his waist is the only point of motion right here. So like, once we get him to cooperate. Like I said, this takes a lot of effort, generally speaking, regardless of what you're doing, because the figures don't always like to stand on their own. Obviously, they're inanimate objects, they're not alive, so they're not going to work with you so well. But yeah, like, see, we've done that with his waist, and we have to twist it so that it kind of looks like that. Now, hang on a minute. You'll do it again, but you'll twist his waist. Twist him at the waist, because remember, his legs, they move, but the joints don't. So you're going to have a harder time positioning it if you don't use the waist to your advantage here. Hold on. It takes a lot of work, and but it is worth it. Trust me, it takes effort, serious effort. But once you get that end project, you're gonna love it, man. You're gonna love it. So it's gonna be worth every effort. Now see, I moved his waist again, so his legs are positioned differently, so it looks like he's walking. And we're just gonna go ahead and go right into that animation. Alright, so this is going to be the third part of the walking aspect of it, with an even more rigid figure. Now, one good thing about this particular figure is he stands really well, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But his waist is what you're going to be using entirely for his walking motion, because his legs don't move, like at all. There's nothing, even no joints whatsoever there. The only joints he has is his arms and his waist. Okay, so let me show you how that works. Okay, so this is our bendy. Yes, you can make them walk too. This is a lot more difficult though. Alright, because like I said, even to get him to stand up, his feet have to be positioned a certain way. Okay, even if you have his feet positioned the right way, it doesn't mean that he's going to always cooperate. Your surfaces are going to dictate exactly what he decides to do. Because as I explained before, these are not living beings. You can't tell them, we'll stand this way, or do that this way. No, this is a whole different way to put together anything. And it's kind of complicated at times, but let me show you some things. With him, you're going to move the legs, because there's wire in here. It's rubber over wire, so you have to move that wire. But even then, okay, like, see what I'm doing here? If I want it to look right, I'm going to have to use my hand at the very bottom of this particular character and keep it out of frame. No, I know I said earlier that you shouldn't put your hand in frame, but for this, there's no other way it's going to work. Okay, so, see, don't want that. So you take it about, well, you can lower your hand and you can take it about there at the waist. Okay, so let me show you how that works. finally, for our walking segment, we're going to come to this guy. These are the most difficult to animate because they don't move at all. They stand nice, but they don't move at all. So they're very, very difficult. But for real, the easiest way to do it is just like that. Zigzag him so he looks like he's moving. It's the only way to do it with these characters because otherwise, it's, you know, no matter what you do, it's going to look clunky. And that's why I generally don't use them. But it can be done. It's just a lot more difficult. Right. So I'll be back a little later with some other basic movements, but this about covers the walking end of it. So we'll have some other really simple things I can do and show you late in a little bit, but right now I have a few things I gotta do. I'll be back though.